So I don't have to wait 4 many years to make the money, put it in the bank, and then give it away to somebody. That's what makes Yunus's social business a different social business. And the last point on that I want to make, because this is a long story, I would encourage you to read the book. But the idea is that this is where our group becomes relevant to this discussion. We also, as entrepreneurs, as people who want to succeed, look inside yourself. You also want to help people. Is there anybody in this room who will say, no, I just want to be selfish? No. Everybody will say, but before I am able to give somebody something, I need to have something to give. Right? And this is, in Yunus's idea, this is brought together in the form of a social business.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah. So there's a lot to cover there, but Mana, I'd like to ask you just to summarize the key points about Yunus's philosophy and the new capitalism, and then this concept of the social business and how it differs from a traditional profit-making business. That would be great.
And of course, you can ask questions after this as well.
Nessa noite, Dr. Faiz, for ponto importante tolo, primeiro maka Professor Muhammad Yunus niya hari kono ba problema, niya tete kata problema nebe maka ita asolu, ne problema nebe maka ita rasa kriya. Problema ne maka saída, problema ne maka desigualdade. Desigualdade tambah oportunidade nebe maka ema hetan la hanesa. Oportunidade ema balu hetan oportunidade liu, I balu hetan oportunidade tua. E também danema cria concentração economia, concentração osan, concentração rendimento ne para ema nebema com número que quanteves. Osan obiku stoi iha mundo ne para ba concentra iha ema número utuang nebema ka saya rico teteles iha mundo. E Professor Muhammad Yunus hakere kona livro kona ba ohinya temine Jero Tolu ini sena encoraja kata kita bosira sehetan livro ne bele le. Dr. Faiz for explica kona ba diferença entre negócio social, a empresa social, ou negócio ida normal. Iha negócio ida normal ini ema hanoin katak nia sobele halo buat rumah dia atau benefício ema stelo nia tem ser hetang uluk lai osan anto halo ema nesan dunia rikusoin nia serviço dunia rikusoin hetang osan barak ostia depois mak nia fo filo kali osame hanesan doação hanesan charity doação ba ema kiak sira nia depois nia hetang osan barak los nia saya ema da rikulos yang mundo tia mak nia foi fale osan ba hal hospital osan ba halo be será fornece be outra remoto no Professor Muhammad Yunus dia ansane no sama tem ser emane sai riculos dia ma nia foi for benefício ba maselo manema nia mai o conceito ida negócio social hanesamos negócio ida selo mebe nia diferença maka emane banhira nia cara katu hetang rendimento nia hetang rendimento e nia cria fundação para a economia e família niña, mas bem há tempo nebe mahanesa, niña negócio ne resolve problema em comunidade, niña negócio ne for benefício para a comunidade, nebe la osca tak niña rico tia mak niña for niña ajuda maselo, ou niña for benefício para maselo, mas bem banhira niña começa halo niña negócio, niña hanoi ona kata niña negócio nemos for benefício para maselo, ida nema conceito importante Dr. Faiz ato.
And the good thing about this session is that you can ask questions. I wouldn't want to just keep on going. So, if there's any ideas that you have, how many of you have actually heard of Muhammad Yunus before? Yes, very inspiring figure. How many of you know that he is one of the original 17 advocates of the SDGs? Yes? So, when the SDGs were released, the UN Secretary General identified 17 individuals all over the world who would become champions and who would be the spokespersons for propagating the idea of SDGs. And Yunus is one of those people. And he's a very passionate advocate of SDGs. So you could probably ask how SDGs might be related to social business, right? Can somebody figure that connection out? SDGs related to social business?
Dia maruma iha Hanoi, sama ka ODS, Objective de Desenvolvimento Sustentável, terus hari ini depannya, sama nene iha relasaun ho negócio social. Maruma iha opinião? Sim, ma'am.
This gentleman.
Yes, please.
Boleh, Pak.
Right. How are these related to social business? Let's have a quick thing. Let's have a quick answer so that everybody understands.
Okay, for me, it's one simple thing is social is about common. And if you think about education, there is human there. If you think about the climate change, there is human there. Because if there is too much sun, then people will get hot.
So it's about human problem.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. One thing that is very obvious, and as you rightly pointed out, is that these are the 17 problems that we need to solve if we have to create a good world to live in. You take out one, and the world is not as good at it as it would otherwise be. But one thing I would like to point out here is that these are not 17 goals. This is one goal for a happy world, but it has 17 faces. You can't have a sustainable world where life below water is not safe. If we overfish, lots of people will not eat. Or you imagine a world where decent work is not possible, but everything else is possible. What will that create? If you can't create decent work, so many other problems will come out of that. So that's the point I wanted to make, that the SDGs are 17 faces of the same problem. And that problem is of providing human beings with a life or a world worthy of living. But there is another point here, and that is each of these is a business idea. Look at this. Clean water and sanitation. Do you buy bottled water? Right? How many people buy bottled water? Everybody seems to. Do you go and you say, when you're given something to drink, you say, maybe this is not safe, I'll buy the bottled water. It's $1 billion industry, drinking water. Look at another one. Quality education. Those of us who are parents, when they want to send their kids to school, do they prefer sometimes private schools over government schools? Yeah? Or no? If somebody could afford to send their child to a private school because it provides a better education, would they do it? Yeah? That's a business, right? So there are some businesses that you can immediately identify as SDG related, but there are others which are not that visible or not that obvious or not that traditionally around for us. So one thing that we want to do is focus our attention sometimes on the SDGs and see what business opportunity can we create that will solve a particular SDG related problem, and then create the resources to continue to solve that problem. And imagine if you created all these various businesses which looked after, which preserved fisheries, which preserved the environment and trees, which created safe infrastructure, etc., etc. These are all businesses. As we speak, people are making money doing these very things. Even the partnerships, you've heard of consultants, right? Everything has a business angle. So please start thinking that SDGs are all many things, but they are also business ideas. And once you've got that down, your mind will start thinking in that terms, and you will create business ideas like you are doing now, which as a direct result of your success will solve the social.
Thank you, Dr. Faiz. So we've talked about Dr. Faiz's journey. So you see the PPT behind me, and then the inspiration and the Yunus philosophy and concept of social business. Before we move on to what the Yunus Center does now and the opportunities for you all to engage, I'd just like to ask Mana to just summarize how that link was made between social business and the SDGs, and how the SDGs present opportunities for social business. Thank you.
Ok, obrigada banyak Pak Aling Mohing nebe makfona minha opinião. Dr. Faiz tem rosto ne objetivo sanulu recém hito ne minha concentração, minha centro maka humana, ema humana, ema. Iha neba iha Dr. Faiz oinga tete kata iha objetivo sanulu recém hito, mas betul ros ne minha objetivo ne ida de. Minha objetivo ne ida de minha oin ka minha forma ne ma iha sanulu recém hito. Apa saida oin Dr. Faiz explica kata se problema ne ida de hanesang B ou ida paling mudança climática niya se ita resolve ida sira seluk ne ita la resolve anto na fatin ema moris iha problema nya larang na fatin se bototo ita resolve mai be decent job, decent work ka serviço digno nela iha ema la iha serviço digno anto ema na fatin moris iha mundo ida nebe maka la perfeito la dia o ema na fatin iha problema. Então, iha objetivo sanulu recém hito nene, iha oportunidade iha neba. Ida sanulu recém hito ne problema. No problema ne dele sai oportunidade para negócio social. Oi, Dr. Faiz, por exemplo, quando a B, então pode ser a remo B, buter kala, B aqua kala. Remo sim. Ne ohin yang Dr. Faiz yang ne negócio ida nebe maka multi-billion ema hetan lucro billion ba fan bene. Então, iha oportunidade ba ita o jovem sira atu bele criar negócio social iha ba. Também ita pode ser fornece B ba ema e ao mesmo tempo ita pode ser retan rendimento. E Dr. Faiz hoje, por exemplo, selo caneção essa preserva ikan, essa preserva ambiente e problema selo que nebe maka menciona iha objetivo sanulu recém hito ne Dr. Faiz encoraja ita pode ser atu hare objetivo sanulu recém hito ne hanesang menu ida atau insa ita pode ser bele cria oportunidade para negócio social niya.
Thank you, Mana. So, Dr. Shah has really brought us up to date, both in terms of the journey he's taken over his career and how that has informed his way of thinking about how you can have an impact, and then the philosophy of Professor Yunus and how the concept of social business can be realized. So I'd really like to now dive into, what we can all do and where we can all collaborate. So Dr. Faiz, if you could tell us a bit about the activities of the Yunus Center that you lead, and how you think about impact-driven projects, and maybe also opportunities that you see for us all to collaborate with you and the Yunus Center.
Absolutely. There's a lot happening now. As you know that the traditional way of business is now already changed. Most recently, there have been statements by some of the biggest CEOs of multinational companies in which they have said that the job that they want their companies to do is to improve the quality of life for people they work with. This was something that was never said by business leaders 20 years ago. So the world has now begun to understand that for a business to succeed, it has to have happy clients. It has to have people with money to buy what they are selling. It has to have the support and loyalty of the customers to continue to buy their products. So yes, part of the motivation of the new, what you might say, thinking in business and industry is driven by this realization that they need to help people. But part of it is also driven by the necessity or the realization that if they have economically strong, happy, healthy communities in the world, there are more clients to buy their services. So many companies have made the connection between having responsible businesses that actually help people's quality of life and that these are connected to the profits that they will make. So I don't want to make this very academic, but in the last 20 years or so, a lot has been published on how there are fortunes for companies, a lot of money, wealth for companies to be found amongst people who don't seem to be rich, because people still spend money on buying things on a day-to-day basis. So if you can identify new markets and be a responsible business, you will get the loyalty of even the people who don't have a lot of money, and they will come and buy your product. So if this is the new thinking, then again, I would argue that this is the time now to design businesses which solve social problems. So what we do as the Yunus Center at AIT, and there are now 84 Yunus centers all over the world. Maybe soon we should have one in Timor-Leste as well. The idea of a Yunus Center, my Yunus Center, is around 3 key words, and these are easy for you to understand. One is engage. Now, if you had not found out that there is an opportunity to learn at the co-lab and create a pitch and then maybe succeed and then get into a business, you would not have come here. So the first thing is engagement. Somebody gave that message across to you, inspired you, motivated you to be able to come and compete and try and win this competition, right? So engagement is the first thing. If nobody had told you that there is something called the Youth Collab, or if nobody had told you that there is an opportunity to learn from each other and then compete with others and go beyond the country into other countries, you would not have come. So what we do as part of our job is engage with all the actors, young people, companies, governments, educational institutions, and not only in Thailand, but because we are a regional institute, we work all across the region. So what I'm doing today is part of my responsibility as an engagement guy. I'm trying to explain what Yunus does. I'm trying to explain how the SDGs are linked to social businesses. That's our first thing. The second thing is educate. I come from a university. The job of the university is to run learning programs. So we have a number of programs, courses, short courses, workshops, mentoring sessions, and now even degrees where people can actually learn special, small but highly specialized knowledge about social business. So very soon, I hope we will be able to introduce a new master's program in social business and entrepreneurship, which will be taught by Mohammed Yunus himself. And the idea is to create a new breed of business leaders, people like yourselves, who want to succeed, but who also want to help at the same time. The third thing that we do is empower. Now, you all understand, all of you went to school, all of you went to reasonably good educational opportunities, but that doesn't automatically translate into the power to decide for yourself. Empowerment is the idea where you take a decision without fear or favor, about what you think is best for you, rather than somebody else telling you these are the only options you have. And empowerment in the true sense is what liberates people. There's another Indian Nobel Prize winner called Amartya Sen, who has said that development basically comes from freedom. If you're free to choose, you can choose whatever you want to do and develop accordingly. But in order to be free, you have to have certain things. You have to have an education, you have to have money, a livelihood, a job, etc., etc. And therefore, entrepreneurship becomes very important. If we can encourage young people to become, as Professor Yunus says, job creators rather than job seekers, we've covered a lot of ground on the empowerment area. So imagine a world where less people will be queuing up for jobs outside government offices, and more people will be trying to find a role as creators, makers, producers, and sellers of necessities of life. If we get to that balance, when more people are engaged in independent enterprise, parts of even larger supply chains, they're creating wealth, they're creating self-sustaining economic communities, and then the question of unemployment and all this other stuff that we worry about will significantly be reduced. So our third job is to find ways on how to empower people through ideas like this, competitions like this, through linking them up to investment opportunities, to creating mechanisms in which government supports or government policy support is available for introducing new guidelines or regulatory systems for small businesses to become more easy to operate and so on. So we do three things: we engage, we educate, and we empower. And the last thing about this sort of what the Yunus Center does is it creates a partnership with 84 universities in the world. It's a very powerful community. 84 top universities in the world, two of which are represented in this room. Sadly not Oxford, or LSES has a Harvard. So some of the best universities in the world are part of the social business academic network. And this allows researchers to study and students to read and people to take lessons from what you have experienced and apply it to other parts of the world. So that's kind of the scope of activity. It's a very ambitious task, but again, this is something that we would welcome you to join. So if any of you at any point in time wish to become engaged in social enterprises or social businesses, the CoLab can link you to us. We're happy to link you to other people. We might not be directly able to help you ourselves, but because there are 84 universities, there are 35 governments, etc., part of this whole package, and some really huge multinational companies, there are likelihoods that we can expand your opportunity networks if necessary.
Okay, we will dive more into opportunities in a second. I want to keep on that, but first the challenge gets harder and harder for Manaverta. So if you could please just summarize a bit about the engage, educate, and empower objectives of the Yunus Center and how it's part of a network of 84.
Dr. Faiz hatete, Center, Yunus Center iha untuk 48 iha mundo, iha nasang oiwen. Yunus Center iha ki atividade o intolo, nebema ka primeiro mak engage, ka iha tento karip yang hola parte. Nya for example ida konaba youth collab. Se Emma Ruma la comunica informação com a Youth Collab, la motiva ita bocira, la encoraja ita bocira, atau hilora ita bocira lahne. Ida nemaknya mensagem com a engage ninya, com a pola parte. Ita bocira nya pola parte ita bocira participação nya atividade ida. Depois ida segundo maka educa. Hanesan universidade ida, hanesan centro ida, ninya objetivo mamos atu educa. No, sira iha universidade hamutu 84, iha universidade, iha programa iha universidade sira. No, iha programa ida nebema se lança tinang oin. Nebema ka professor Muhammad Yunus Rasik mak se hanori. Ne programa ba social business ninia. Ida tuir fali mai maka empowerment, kaya deto empreendedoramento. Nia significa saída. Ne significa kata ema iha liberdade atu foti decisão paninha mores. Mas atu sai atu iha liberdade atu foti decisão. Nia tem que ser iha poder ida nia sente confident, nia sente fear an. No iha informação acesso para oportunidade outro, memang kalau nia forte iha liberdade atau forte